This episode is all about realistic, practical fitness tips for everyday life, training strategies, mindset, and everything in between. Welcome to the Feeling Good podcast. Welcome to the Feeling Good podcast, where food and fitness is all about feeling good. I'm Sam.
And I'm Alex.
And welcome to the Feeling Good podcast. What snack did you bring with you today, Alex?
I didn't bring a snack. I don't know if you brought a snack. I'm starting off with some water. I do have a snack waiting for me after the podcast. It's chia seed pudding. What about you? Actually, I can tell
Yum.
you how I made it too if you want to know a little bit how
Yeah,
I made
I
it.
obviously want all of the details.
Okay, I just normally do like milk, maybe mix some protein powder into the milk and then mix in the chia seeds, let it set overnight. Sometimes I do just milk without the protein powder. Depends what I want it to taste like the next day. I did one of the like pre-made proteins like that you get in a little bottle that you can like take on the go. I used that as the milk and then added the chia seeds and then let it set overnight. And then I top it with whatever yogurt I want and then a little bit of granola. It's my favorite way to eat chia seed pudding. I need some texture differences in there. So the granola is key. So that's what I'll be having after. I'm looking forward to it. I'm actually really excited. I've probably found my new hyperfixation for a minute until I ditch it and go somewhere else. And then I brought a LaCroix. Do you have anything to say about that since you made such drastic claims on sparkling water in the last episode?
LaCroix barely breaks the list of like qualifying as sparkling water. Like I know it is. It's
Then
not
what
in my
is it?
top
Just
five.
water?
It's water with like a whisper of carbonation and flavor.
Oh, I don't care about flavor when it comes to sparkling water, which I know is everyone's joke about LaCroix, which is like, what do they say? It's like a hint or like someone yelled a flavor and then they try to like capture it in the can. I don't actually really love a sparkling water that is heavy handed in flavor. I don't need it to be peachy, pomegranate. I will oftentimes just drink a plain sparkling water. So, like, that doesn't bother me whatsoever. I will say that it's definitely not spicy like Topo Chico, which is what I really love about Topo Chico. If you missed Sam's claims in the last episode, for the listener, she just pulled her Topo Chico into screen. I also know, depending on where I'm shopping, you have to just pick and choose your battles on what sparkling water they have.
I also brought, because I like to have a variety of beverages, I also brought a Celsius.
Mm,
Oh, wait. There we go.
we're breaking into ASMR.
I really only bought this because it was the cheapest, and that is number one for me when it comes to a lot of my purchases.
I'm a Celsius drinker. I say that quietly because I know people feel very strongly about energy drinks.
That they do. I also brought a snack, but I ate it before we were on air. I did the thing that you hate that I do. Can you guess?
No, I don't know.
It has to do with a tortilla.
Oh, she eats cold tortillas. This is an actual issue in our friendship.
No. It wasn't cold.
Oh, she microwaved it. She microwaved
So
it.
I made myself a little quick little quesadilla, if you can call it that. Put a little bit of cheese on a low carb tortilla, microwaved it, rolled it into like a little roll,
Mhm.
and then I ate it very quickly.
I mean, I feel so many issues with this already. The fact that you're already making the tortilla bad by it being a low carb tortilla, it probably doesn't even taste like a tortilla. But
I
listen, I've
love
bought them
it.
before. I've bought them before. It is what it is. The microwave. I mean, what I love about a quesadilla is putting it on a pan and getting it just like as crispy as I can. And the cheese is starting to ooze out the sides. And that's also getting now crispy because it's touching the pan. So it's like ooze out the side with some, it's my favorite. And that is the great thing about a quesadilla.
And that is where we differ, because I don't like a crispy tortilla. I love, like, my favorite part of a burrito is like the end when you have just like this soft, it's almost chewy, I guess, tortilla. I like some bits to be crispy because I think like having a variety of textures is really nice, but I love a soft tortilla. So I like it better in the microwave.
So you would really like a Taco Bell quesadilla.
Yes, I
I
would.
listen, I love it. I'm not a hater of that either. 2 a.m. Taco Bell quesadilla is probably the best thing on this planet. There's something about the sauce that they put on it. We can move on from quesadillas now.
Sure, but if you can make it to 2 AM, you deserve a Taco Bell quesadilla. For sure. All right. Well, speaking of snacks, little small pivot I have to make. I just started watching Heated Rivalry and I'm obsessed. Now, let me just preface that with I did watch the first episode and did not think it was good, but as you know, that's not a deterrent for me. And it is so good, Alex. I like all my thoughts and social media is consumed by Heated Rivalry and it is so good.
Somehow all of my social media is also heated rivalry, even though I haven't consumed it yet. There's just too many shows on the list right now. So I am having trouble keeping that in place because we have a show starting tomorrow on your birthday. Happy early birthday. This will already be
Thanks.
released, and Sam's birthday will have already passed. So happy birthday to Sam. While also it being Sam's birthday tomorrow, there's also a new show coming out, which is just double good news, and then also some new shows at the end of the month. So I got a lot on my list right now, but it is on my list. I'm gonna do it. Two hockey players, right? Who
Yeah.
who like each other.
And their glutes, Alex. This is actually a great segue to the theme of this podcast today, which is training. Their
Wow.
glutes are incredible. Specifically, the guy who plays the Russian, incredible. Like, I just need you to like look it up or like start it just so that we
I'm
can
gonna
talk
start
about
it. I'm
how
gonna start it.
it's hot.
I know that. I mean, that's what everyone says. I'm gonna start it. I'm also really impressed by your segue into today's topic. That was good. Came out of nowhere, but
Thank
it was
you.
good.
Thank you. So let's talk about training. I want to talk about first if you set your goals and if there are any training goals in your 2026 this coming year.
I think we did talk a little bit about that as the year was coming to an end. Just of, I guess my question is, do you even feel like you have training goals at this point in your fitness journey? And by training goals, does that mean you want to run a marathon, which I know for you, you don't want to do that this year? Like, does it look like
Mhm.
a physical challenge, or is it, do you have any performance goals in the gym, or do you have any body goals? And I know that we talked a little bit last time with goal setting about not having these surface level reasons for having a goal just because it won't really keep you long term. But there is this balance of it's okay to also have that and realize that you maybe need to have a deeper reason in order to keep going long term. I don't think it's a bad thing to say I want bigger glutes. I want this and this and this, and it's changing something about your body. And I know there is this conversation, I guess I'll say online and just in the fitness space in general, of people having really strong feelings on whether you should have these aesthetic goals. And I'm of the opinion that to a certain extent, it's okay when it's coming from an okay place and not a place of just hatred for yourself. I don't know. I'm kind of okay with it. What about you?
I think both can be true at the same time. You can want to feel confident in a bikini. You can want to live a longer and healthier life. You can want to incorporate certain elements into your training because of how you want to look. When I do hip thrusts, I'm thinking bigger glutes, bigger glutes. Like
And who
I like it
isn't?
pumps
Who
me
isn't?
up.
Exactly.
Yeah, like I like having bigger glutes. I love how they look on other people too, obviously. Reference to Heated Rivalry. I like glutes. So like if I want to enhance that in the gym and I have that option, like I do. I do that. I don't think that all of the things that you choose to do have to have like this great serve this greater purpose. When you think back to like goals that maybe you've set in previous years or even just like your training routines, how has that shifted or changed throughout the years or do you think it's remained pretty consistent?
I guess when I look back, it has changed, but I feel like when I'm thinking about it, I'm like, no, it's been the same, but it really hasn't. When I started out, I was definitely always going to the gym, hopping on the treadmill or the Stairmaster, spending most of my time there, and then doing core. That was my game plan. It was cardio and core, and I don't think I'm alone in that. I think a lot of people, I would say probably women especially, we tend to start off that way. And it was probably also what was popular at the time. Like I remember having I know I'm not alone in this, but I remember I went to Pinterest and I like who knows what I typed
Mhm.
in to get my screensaver, but it was like a Nike model or something of the sort, and it was my background. And that was super in. I maybe read that in a magazine or like I saw somewhere that someone did that and I'm like, great idea. It's the same as it's the same concept as people who like printed out pictures and like put it on their fridge. It was something that we did and for me, this is going on, I don't know, 12 years ago, a long time ago. I didn't know any better. And I did that for a long time, had that screensaver, did the cardio, did the core. I remember going into the gym and I had like the same routine. It wasn't like I progressed in any way. I didn't know what progressive overload was. I didn't realize that I should maybe keep challenging myself in some way. I just did the same thing over and over again. And it was like the same 3 core exercises. I didn't add any reps. I didn't add any sets. I probably didn't add any weight. I just did it over and over and over again. And I would go to, I don't know if it has a different name, but like the captain's chair. Do you know what that is?
A, Roman chair. I think it's called a Roman chair
Yeah, it's
or
yeah,
something
maybe
like
that's what
that.
it's something like that. It's where you have your forearms on the thing and you,
Yeah,
do leg raises or, like,
yeah.
knee tucks,
Mhm.
and still a very popular exercise, people do it all the time. I there's nothing it's nothing to do with the exercise. It's the fact that I just did the same thing every single time I went in the gym. Did you start out similarly?
Almost identical, I would say. Obviously, sports and, like, that
Oh,
training
yeah. I mean, do
was
you want me to go back that far? I guess I would say this was post sports. Like this was post, maybe not post, maybe towards the tail end of it, right? Like you're in junior, senior year of high school and you start going to the gym and
yeah.
start taking it maybe a little bit more seriously. So it was around that time.
What's funny about that is, like, obviously, I learned nothing from being an athlete and, like, training, and, like, we did do some lifting, although that was, like, preseason. Didn't learn a thing, obviously, because I then felt so lost going into trying to find a training program. I started doing some yoga, so that was great, but as far as my outlook on what my training needed to, like, contribute to, like, I just wanted to be small. I didn't really consider if I built muscle, even at the same body fat, I would look leaner. Like, I didn't really consider that, but also, like, we grew up where skinny was really the ideal, the beauty ideal. No one was really celebrating muscle, at least not from what I remember. Maybe that did exist, just not popularly for me. But when I went to the gym, like, same thing, Pinterest would pull up anything, like some kind of guide of, okay, I'm going to do 100 squats and then I'm going to do 50 crunches and then I'm going to do, like, right, like, just something to get moving, which isn't a bad thing. And I think a lot of people with social media now, they pull out these random workouts and that's how they exercise. There's no wrong way to exercise, but in terms of efficiency and creating an optimal routine, of course, there are better ways to achieve whatever goal that you have than just randomly trying to piece together a routine.
I similarly started off with having to do the transition of you're working out because you're doing your sport and then now you're going off to the gym. Now I will say it's different for cheer, which is we actually had no education on lifting, which is something that I know a lot of sports I feel like are incorporating more. I know were you lifting as in like you had some strength coaches teaching you how to like back squat, deadlift, bench press, that kind of thing?
Nobody taught me how to squat or deadlift or any of that, but they sure did tell me to do it.
Okay, so it was like you should do this thing. It wasn't like you had this extra time in your
Mm,
sessions to do it?
no, we did. So this was like preseason. So for me, this was for soccer. It'd be in the summer, and we would do weight room. We would do running, like
Mhm.
intervals, and so conditioning.
Mhm.
And we'd have a workout. It would be like, go do 3 sets of this, whatever. But there's so many girls in that gym that nobody's really instructing or
Mhm.
monitoring. And if they are, it's loose. And trust me, nobody was going for the heaviest weights out there. It was more so, we're here, we're doing it. And the thing that I think we all cared more about was like speed work, so like footwork, and the conditioning aspect. That was where we tried. The weight room, I would say we probably didn't try very hard, and we certainly didn't have an appreciation for what strength training can do in the context of performance. And I look back now and I just see this wasted opportunity. Had I really invested in strength training, not only do you get like this incredible body awareness from it, but you become so much more understanding of what you're capable of. You can see yourself with, a great program jumping higher, running faster. It contributes so much to performance, and that just was either told to us in that way, or I just didn't want to hear it.
Right. So I also, when I wasn't going to the gym alone to do like my cardio and core, which like maybe with friends, not necessarily alone, I would go with my mom and she did
Mhm.
workout classes. So I did have this idea of strength. They would call them strength classes. They're way higher in cardio than they are strength because you are doing, picking up 5, 7, 10 pounds and doing them back to back to back to back without any rest. So I did those classes with her. So I did get this understanding of these basic moves, though squats with weights and your lunges and your bent over rows. And I was getting the idea of how to work with weights in these
Mhm.
classes with my mom, and then maybe yoga classes here and there, and then off on my own, the cardio and the core. It wasn't like I was walking out to the main part of the gym and really exploring any of the options out there. It took me a very, very, very long time to step out onto the main portion of the gym. Actually, oftentimes, if I'm going to a new gym, I still will find the more secluded space, at least for a minute, till I feel comfortable. It's something that I still do. It's something that a lot of us do. It's uncomfortable to go to a new gym. And even when you've been doing it for years, it's uncomfortable to go to a new gym and just walk right out there and get
Mhm.
started. It's hard. And so it took me a really, really long time. So over the years, it's changed in the way that I've gone from cardio and core. Then I started stepping out of my comfort zone a little bit and I picked up dumbbells in maybe the more secluded part of the gym. That was my routine for a while. I didn't follow any programs or any guides. I didn't really know about that at the time. It was more like I went to YouTube and I found someone I liked and I did their workout, and I'd probably do that workout over and over and over again until I found a new workout that I wanted to do. And then from there, found programs. From there, started getting to the squat rack, and then things evolved from there.
What would you say was like that trigger that got you from, okay, I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna claim a deadlift platform squat rack? Like what was that kind of moment or even just phase of your life that transitioned you to like that next, I would say, big stage?
I think it is a big stage, and I definitely didn't do it alone. I went out there with someone, which helped significantly. But the reason that I even did that was because I started following people at the time who were in the fitness space, and I was watching them do that for themselves, like go to the squat rack, take over the gym in a way that they felt like confident. And I would watch their form. And it's not that I felt like I couldn't do it. I was just too scared to go out there. So, not going out there alone helps. And then I was following I should say, I started following women in the fitness space, seeing them feel confident in the gym and knowledgeable and training. And I started seeing people lift heavy. And I was like, yeah, I want to do that.
One thing I want to add about kind of just how things have transitioned for me through the years, one of the big pivot points was when I was done with bodybuilding and kind of trying to figure out what my lifestyle was going to look like. I had a really hard time with what does a workout look like, and I had this idea of it had to be 60 minutes long. Like, why would I go to the gym if it wasn't going to be around that amount of time? I wanted to sweat. I wanted to feel sore. I wanted to feel fatigued. And that is something that has transitioned a lot for me, where I get a lot out of less. And that could be my age, but I also think it's a piece of just maturing and recognizing that you're not always going to have the perfect setup and something is always better than nothing. There was this quote that I saw recently and I wanted to touch on it because I do think, at least for me, it's very powerful. And I'm curious if you feel similarly. Perfection is not excellence, it's avoidance. It resonates with me because, again, like I used to want to have that perfect workout. And if it wasn't going to be perfect, I wouldn't do it. So there's like that avoidance that comes in. And I think that a lot of people might also feel similarly of like, oh, I can't work out today because I don't have an hour, or I can't go to the gym when you have space in your home, or you could go for a run or go for a walk. Like there's always going to be plenty of excuses not to do things. And if you can't do it perfectly, then you won't do it. And I think that is avoidance, but it's also a big reason why people don't do things that are really great for you in the long run.
I think that quote's great. I think a lot of people do think if I can't do all of it, why am I going to do any of it? And that's just not the case when it comes to movement or when it comes to your food. Have you seen that trend that people are doing where they're showing the mindset of all or nothing by physically doing it on camera? You've seen it. It's
Mhm.
something like, can you give me an example? I can't even think of
Yeah,
one.
you spill a little bit of milk as you're pouring it into your coffee, and instead of just, moving on, you spill the rest of the jug of milk onto the counter.
Which is, trying to signify if you can't do your 60-minute workout, why should I do the 30-minute workout? And it makes no sense when you think of it in the context of spilling a little bit of milk and instead dumping the entire jug of milk out.
And to you, what do you think are the pieces of a good workout? Or like how would you, especially cuz you write workouts for a living, you're programming, you're writing workouts, what are the elements that you look for and put together to create a good workout?
I guess what is the definition of good? Because also, yes, I do write workouts, like strength based workouts, but I also go to yoga classes and I also do sculpt classes and I do these workouts that are way out of like the realm of what I write for workouts.
Mhm.
But I have a good workout when I go to those, but they have such a different structure and such a different goal, such a different reason that I'm even doing the workout than I am of the one I'm writing or the one I'm doing on my strength days. So I guess for me, let's just go with feeling. What kind of workout makes me feel good? And that is a workout where it doesn't have to be long. It can be very quick. I would say I probably often do 30-minute workouts, especially when it's a dumbbell based workout. It's always going to be quicker than when you're having to pull the barbell out or you're having to walk
Mhm.
around the gym. Just for reference, I do work out from home a lot of the time, which that in itself makes a workout so much quicker. I did start going to a gym recently, and one of the hurdles has been things taking a little bit longer. And that doesn't mean the workout's any better because I spent 60 minutes there doing a workout than I did on my home workout, which was more like 40 minutes. A lot of times you're waiting around, which makes the workout a little bit longer. But when it comes to how I feel, I want to feel the endorphins flowing. That's when I know I've had a good workout is endorphins flowing, which can happen with so many different kinds of working out. Would you say sometimes even after a walk you have that feeling?
Like, what kind of a walk is it? Is it like a dog walk? And I'm kinda just putzing around. My dog is the slowest. You may not agree, but lately she has really been milking her walks and just taking her sweet time, which her right.
Okay,
It's her
but you
walk.
know that's not what I mean. No, a dog not a dog walk where they're sniffing the whole time, but when you go out and let's just say we're going for like a sunset walk and we're like moving and grooving for, 20, 30 minutes and you get done and you're like, "Dang, I feel really good." Now maybe it's not actually post-workout endorphins flowing, but it is that I always mentally feel really good after a walk.
Yeah,
And I know that a
agreed.
good workout does that for me in general. I always just feel so much better. I would say as far as a good structured workout, let's talk about the different kinds of workouts, but I mean, you're gonna have a good warm up. You're going to start off, in my opinion, with like some nice big compound lifts, the big focus of your workout. And then for me, I love some little finishers at the end, some accessory movements that are just like those exercises that I really enjoy doing versus my squatting and my deadlifting. I don't necessarily enjoy those as much as I do glute kickbacks and lateral raises and the fun stuff at the end of the workout. So I would say majority of my workout focuses on the beginning, which is like the compound lifts. That's where majority of my energy is going. And then I like to finish off with what I call the more fun things.
I really like your answer. I will add to it. Of course, any workout that you do is going to be a good workout, right? Anytime you show up, it's going to be a
Right,
good
right,
workout.
right, right.
But in the specific context of lifting, training, as you said, just to review, you got your warm up, general, specific, increasing blood flow, and then getting into more specific ranges of motion that you're going to be doing for your compound lifts. I love compound lifts. They're the most time efficient. You get the most out of them. I think I like a squat, a deadlift, pull ups, bench. I like them because I know that they're like the higher energy required movements. I know their value. I know the value of loading your spine and engaging your core and going through functional movement patterns. So I see all of the value of a compound movement. Therefore, I think that I like them because that's what they do. Yeah, I love a finisher. I love a core finisher. And I do want to caveat that by saying that doing core work like crunches, it will build you a stronger core, but the things that really make you or really help you have a strong core are going to be your compound lifts, bracing your core for a squat, loading your spine. Like that's where you get the biggest bang for your buck in terms of training and strengthening your core. So I don't think that you need to be doing core work as a part of your training routine, but I do think that they can be fun.
Okay, I'm going to add another caveat to that. That if you don't know how to brace your core, you don't know how to activate that, you don't know how to engage that, I
Mhm.
say that there is work that needs to be done pre doing your compound lifts and understanding what that looks like, understanding what that feels like. I think a lot of us have
Mhm.
no idea what it means to properly do that. A lot of us. And you are not alone if you feel like you're doing your squats and you're doing bent over rows and you're like, am I doing this correctly? It's so common. I know a lot of us will like flex our abs and we think that that is what's properly bracing it. So you're not alone if you are confused in that area. But Sam is right. Doing the compound lifts works your core 100%. There's almost nothing you can do without your core. When you're squatting, you're using your core. When you're doing pull ups, you're using your core. When you're doing all of it, you're using your core. But if you don't know how to engage your core, there is some pre work that needs to be done so you can understand what that feels like.
If you're confused by core engagement through compound lifts, look up the Valsalva maneuver and just to educate yourself. Look it up, look into it, practice it. And I also want to mention that to me, a good workout is training smarter, not harder. Often, one of the biggest things that I learned as a personal trainer and working with people is when a client comes to a session, they really want to just get the most out of it, which I love, right? Who doesn't want someone who's ready to come work hard and sweat and just give you all of themselves? It's great. But not taking appropriate rest periods is the hardest thing as a trainer because you want them to get the most out of the workout, of course, but they think the most out of the workout is a constant movement. And okay, I'm done with this one. Now what's next? And I'm like, okay, hold up. We actually need a rest before the next set. And here's why. And so educating in that setting, I think is really helpful. But I think it's something that we can all take into our workouts and get more out of them. Because if you're not recovering between sets and you're trying to train at a high intensity, your body, not your cardiovascular system, but your muscular system, requires a certain duration of time to be able to fully recover. And appreciating that and introducing that into your workouts can exponentially allow you to grow and grow stronger at a much faster rate.
With that same train of thought of train smarter, not harder, I would also say that people tend to really overestimate the amount of volume that they need to do with the workout. And let's just say maybe they're following a workout that they found, or maybe they came up with it on their own. You might be doing like 10 exercises. I have definitely seen workouts where it is this just overload. And there is that balance of train smarter, not harder, of this optimal rep range, of what you want to get out of the workout. All of that like plays a factor into it. But I think people really overestimate the amount that they need to be doing. And with that train of thought, also, I will say with the finishers that we talked about in the workout, I guess I'll also say something like that isn't necessary, but you don't always do, or I should say for me, I'm not always doing what is the most optimal, what is necessary. Sometimes I'm doing a workout because I want to do the freaking workout. If I want to make my glutes just absolutely on fire at the end of my leg day and do a little finisher, is that the thing that's growing my glutes? No. Is it fun for me to do? Yeah. And what's going to get you back to the gym than having fun in your workouts? If you're just doing what is necessary, if you're just doing what is optimal and that works for you, that's great. If you're someone who wants to have a little bit of fun in their workout and they want to do the ab exercises and they want to do the finisher at the end of their workout, it doesn't have to be the most optimal thing in order for you to do it, in order for you to enjoy it. Because long term, the reason you go time and time again to the gym is because you enjoy it. What would you say to people who come to you, because you also write programs? What would you say to people who come to you and say, I am on a fat loss journey right now? What's your best program for me?
It's not going to differ that much from a hypertrophy or a strength program. Probably the most different from a strength program, because strength is all about building intensity, increasing volume. For hypertrophy and for fat loss, your goal isn't to necessarily build strength, although you can. It's not necessarily to build muscle, although it is possible. Your goal is to lose fat and maintain muscle. And in that space, your nutrition defines your direction. The most important thing that you can do is make sure you're in a calorie deficit, you're eating enough protein to support recovery and maintaining the lean mass that you do have. Ultimately, like using strength training as a way to maintain muscle if you want to be in a fat loss phase. Cardio can also help you lose fat, but you want to stay away from really high intensity cardio or even strength training, and trying to pursue progressive overload, because your nutrition isn't going to be there to support that kind of effort. And what often happens, and this happens in like the performance athletic side of things as well, like for athletes, is if you're in a calorie deficit and you're training really hard, that will possibly, probably lead to overtraining, which means injury, illness, and a break. So you want to support both as much as you can, but know and settle your expectations that if my goal is to lose fat, my training might not be at its peak performance, and that's okay. It is a tool rather than necessarily something that you're pursuing a higher level of. Your nutrition needs to be able to also have the perspective and kind of the observation of, am I nearing overtraining? Do I need to increase my calories to kind of like stay away from that? And your training for a fat loss phase is just there to support the muscle that you already have and maintain it throughout the phase.
It's confusing when you are starting out and you know that you have this goal of fat loss and you see 10 million bajillion different programs, and one is saying this is your shred program and one is saying this is like your building phase. I think it's comforting to know that now you just really decide nutrition wise where you're going and
Mhm.
then pick the program that you want to do.
Another thing I think that people tend to get wrong, thinking that there's a perfect strategy that they haven't tried yet to get them the results that they're looking for. You know, maybe you've tried Alex's programs. Oh, well, they didn't work. I'm going to go try this other person's program. Oh, didn't work. I'm going to go try the next biggest thing. And ultimately, that's not, I mean, it's great to have different experiences and different exposures to different things, but educating yourself on kind of really the science. For me, it's been the most empowering is to understand the why behind how things work, which I think we're trying to get at with this podcast. How can we simplify this? How can we make it more digestible and easier to understand so that people can apply it and see real significant change? We want everyone to feel really good, but I think a piece of feeling good is understanding the world around you and how you can use real science and facts to contribute to feeling your best.
I agree. Having some education behind any decision you make is obviously helpful when it comes to making the best decision for you. I think that a lot of times people are just looking for like the secret sauce, like the one thing
Mhm.
that they've been missing in order to get the results that they're looking for when it comes to anything. My yoga teacher said a really great it wasn't a joke, and he said, "This isn't a joke, but people laugh." We were in eagle pose, which is arguably the worst when you are all your arms are all crossed around
Yeah.
each other, your legs are all crossed around each other, and
Mhm.
you're squatting on this one leg basically, and I find it to be so uncomfortable. And he said, "In a second, I'm gonna tell you how to make this pose easier." And everyone, obviously we're not talking in class, so we're all waiting quietly. Probably 15 seconds go by, and he goes, "If you thought I was going to give you an answer to that, you're already missing the point of this exercise and you're already looking for a way to get out of the discomfort, to
Mhm.
not sit in this, to not get through this. You want to make it easier on yourself. You're looking for the easy way out when sometimes it's through. And when it comes to working out and fat loss and having these goals, people are looking for the secret sauce sometimes, that one thing that's going to make it easier for them because in the past it didn't work out the way that they were doing it. And that one thing isn't there, which is why there's no one program that's going to be the program and not the one diet that's going to be the diet.
You can do all of these different programs. The thing that it's going to get it to click is not the program itself, but it's you in the phase of life in your mindset when you go into them.
Right. In the mindset of sometimes the only option is through. It's
Mhm.
not finding the easier option. It's not finding the workaround.
Mhm.
Sometimes you
Mhm.
have to just go from point A to point B
Mhm.
in the hard way, the uncomfortable way.
No, but I have seen a lot of people talk about how Pilates is the secret sauce. So, what is your take on this whole Pilates craze, kind of this takeover of even this, what's associated with Pilates, which is a thinner, less muscular woman?
So that's really what I take from this argument is it's not an argument from this craze, this Pilates craze is that it's going to come with this body type that people are looking
Mhm.
for. And a lot of times it's because they see someone who is doing Pilates and they have a body type that they want or that they feel is ideal. So that's where I'm really struggling with the Pilates craze is equaling said body type, which we know is not the case because well, number 1, I guess with strength training, yes, you can like build your body into certain ways. Pilates, you're going to build your body in certain ways. Yoga, you're going to build your body in a certain way. But you can't physically just change your body type. You
Mhm.
can't change the structure of your own body.
Mhm.
And I feel like it's this misrepresentation.
Do you think it's a celebration of a beauty ideal that is unattainable to most people in a healthy way?
That's a good point. I know that being skinny, being thin has really come back around. Are you saying that it's a way to look this way, but like you're doing it in a healthy way because you're into this new thing now?
Obviously, if you do the same things as somebody else, you're not gonna have the same outcome,
Right.
but I would say for the most part, being very thin, having just a little bit of muscle is very unhealthy for a lot of people because it requires extreme restriction, it requires, a change in lifestyle that might not be the most healthy, either physically or mentally.
I think with Pilates, I actually like Pilates. Mat Pilates, I've done reformer Pilates. I like Pilates. I like a different workout. I like a workout that's out of my norm. I go try something new. I think that it is really great with getting you in tune with those smaller muscles that you don't pay attention to with your core. Maybe you have never focused on your core as much as you do in a mat Pilates class. There are so many great things about Pilates. I'm not a Pilates hater, but don't ditch your entire workout routine for just this. And I say that about most things. I would never just do one thing because I think a well rounded routine is a little bit of everything, which is why in my own programs, it's strength based, which to me is the foundation, to me is like the thing you should be doing. And then I also have a little bit of cardio in there. And then I always say, if you have other things you like to do, please incorporate it with this program because I think a well-rounded routine is your best option. Maybe that's running, maybe that's yoga, maybe that's Pilates. So this has no hate on Pilates. It's just this resurgence of SkinnyTok where I feel like they're using Pilates as an excuse.
It does, in a sense, remind me of when that thinness, the heroin chic was very popular. The detriment to that is you're taking these young, impressionable women and you're making the weight room look even scarier because you're saying less muscle is better. It
Mhm.
looks better.
Mhm.
And your most optimal time, the time that you are going to have the easiest potential to grow muscle is when you're younger. So I'm scared for that generation to grow up in a time where it's not being promoted and looked at as a positive thing. It makes them scared to want to put on muscle because that has a huge effect down the line on your longevity, a quality life towards the end of your life. And I think that that's a really sad thing that could emerge from this really popular Pilates trend. And also, like to what you're saying, like a well-rounded routine is so important. And even if you love yoga and that's your thing, yogis need more than anything, more than any other kind of movement, they need posterior chain work because if you're doing a ton of push-ups and front body work, you're neglecting the backside, right? Your posterior chain. And that's actually something that through time I've integrated more into my programming is more posterior. So like pulling movements because we spend so much time on screens and on computers. So the more that we can strengthen our posture pushing back, that just is a way to really structure your training. Here's something that I'm doing in my life and I need to do the counter to that in my training.
Which is why my fear is not people getting into Pilates. My fear is that it has nothing to do with Pilates and it has
Mhm.
everything to do with the body type. And I
Right.
worry about how this is going to trickle down like it did in the
Mhm.
early 2000s. It doesn't matter how old you are, you absolutely
Right.
can be infected with these negative
Mhm.
with negative self-talk of this new thing is in, we're really highlighting this new thing being a body type. Which so crazy is your body type is not a trend. Like I was saying, you can only change your body so much.
Mhm.
It should not be changing with the trends. It shouldn't be this is in now I'm going to try to get this body type. But unfortunately, it's what happens because we see it everywhere. I think lifting and yoga, and I'm so biased with this because it is my own routine, but I think lifting and yoga are a perfect pair. And then add in a little bit of cardio for your heart health, and you
Mhm.
have a nice, well rounded routine.
I think it says a lot that that's what you're doing. And I just think that continuing to promote resistance training, not just for building muscle and like building glutes and whatever else is like popular at the moment, really deeply rooted in feeling good for a really long time, which I know circling back to episode 1 is your main driver for why you exercise and what gets you up when maybe you don't really feel like it.
They all check off a different like mental challenge for me too. And all of this is how I continue to feel good, but also how I want to stay feeling good for a really long time. And then the really unsexy thing about lifting, which is like for women, how important it is as we get older to continue to lift heavy. And my biggest fear with Pilates is that less and less women, and I'm talking to women specifically because I'm sure they're the only ones listening to this podcast, but I'm speaking to women specifically because this is who it's targeted at. I'm not saying that men don't have like their own things that are being targeted at them when it comes to like their own body type.
Mhm.
But Pilates is really, really the women's space right now. We have to lift heavy. We have to.
A little bit of a pivot. I do think that creating like a safe space, a positive space that helps you feel really good rather than a space that you constantly feel bad in. What are things that on your social media media you either avoid or follow and lean into that help you feel really good?
I'm always going to avoid the people who are yelling at you in the grocery store. I will say a lot of people do get sucked into those videos though, because they work because they're fear mongering and they scare you with whatever the first sentence is that they throw at your face, which is something along the lines of, if you're eating this, you're going to die. And you're like, oh my God, which lacks so much context. It lacks so much nuance, but it does exactly what the goal is, which is scare you, keep you on the video, and then
Mhm.
keep that person popping up in your feed time and time again. And like I said, it lacks so much context, but it also just completely keeps out majority of the population from even feeling like they have a way into fitness if they can only buy these foods. They only have access to these foods. There's food deserts. There's not Whole Foods everywhere. How am I supposed to go grab this thing that you're telling me I'm supposed to buy and it's 19.99 and this one is 9.99? There's just so many issues with the grocery store yellers.
Creating fear around food is one of the hardest things to overcome as somebody who has had to overcome food fears where I looked at food as good or bad. I'm so tired of those conversations. It's literally Diet Coke recirculating, people being scared or fear mongering on artificial sweeteners. We've been here before and it is bothersome, and I sometimes forget that people are so vulnerable, and myself as an example, I was so vulnerable to that as a kid, and to the point where as a kid, just me younger, like, I went to school to study nutritional science and to better understand, and I still deal with my subconscious telling me that like thinner is better, this food is good, this food is bad, so it can have a really lingering effect. So I really like that you brought that one up.
I also, just for argument's sake, let's say that someone in the grocery store yelling at you actually ends up giving you true, real advice. I don't know if that's happening, but let's say that it is happening. They say something real, and you're like, no, this thing actually is not great for you. Going about it by scaring people, it's never the way to go when you're trying to educate somebody on something.
And what's your take on rest days? Because that's something I think a lot of people don't fully understand or maybe have a misconception about.
I will start by saying I do go for a walk every single day. That includes rest days from the gym. Sometimes I think people think that it means not moving at all. And I don't think that's always the case. I mean, in certain scenarios, maybe that is the case. If it's what you want to do, then do whatever you want to do. If you want to sit on the couch all day, that's totally up to you. You should do that. I love a couch rot day. But to think that you can't move at all is not the case. I go for a walk every day. That includes rest days. I would say that I think a little bit of movement does feel good on those rest days. You're maybe feeling a little bit sore from the gym sessions that you had, and going on a walk feels good. And I'm all about feeling good. It also feels good mentally. I'm not trying to burn calories. I'm not trying to do anything specific. There's no agenda, just moving in a way that feels good.
Two things pop out to me with like this question. The first is if you need to just sit on your couch because you are so sore that you couldn't possibly do anything to move your body, you've overtrained, you've overdone it, and you've exceeded an ideal amount of stress on your body. And also, a rest day to me is more like recovery day. So rebrand, rest day is actually recovery day. So like what can you do to enhance your recovery? Moving your body actually helps with delivering blood nutrients to the affected area. So it's going to help with recovery.
Okay, but does that mean a Pilates workout?
A Pilates class is going to feel different for everybody because everyone's coming from different training backgrounds. So, and to be fair, I haven't been to a Pilates class maybe since college, which was a long time ago. It can be, it could be, but the intensity really dictates whether or not it's a recovery day or a training day. So it really depends, I guess, on the person and your approach to the class itself or the class itself. Like for a yoga class might be a stretch day for someone and it might be a strength day for someone else who doesn't do any strength training. A rest day, in my opinion, should never be sitting on the couch not doing anything because it's not going to help you recover and feel good between your sessions and help you recover faster. I am someone who likes to do things optimally. I like to be efficient with my time because if I'm going to train, go to the gym and do all the nutrition stuff, eat my protein, I want it to be working for me as opposed to bringing me to a place where I'm overtraining and possibly going to injure myself or get sick.
Our brains work entirely different that way. You love to be efficient, you love to be optimal with a lot of things that you do, and I think they'll come to find out as we listen. Even even we're crossing the streets in New York, it's about being as optimal and efficient as you can. And my brain doesn't work like that. I am not about optimizing. I'm not about efficiency. I'm actually a fairly inefficient person, I would say. For example, Sam books her day. I mean, the turnaround time she has from this thing to this next thing based on her own, it doesn't have to be like this. Like, this is what she wants to do. It's not like her schedule is dictating she only has this much room to get this, this, and this done. She's choosing to plan it out with 2 minutes in between each thing that she needs to do because she's trying to be efficient. And I just like don't care about efficiency. So, with that being said, I'm not necessarily trying to optimize my rest days. That's not necessarily going through my head. Now, I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm just saying that it is. Like truly, it's not good or bad, it just is. And there's no thought going through my head of like, I have to do these things in order to get these things. How am I feeling? Oh, I feel good. How am I feeling? Oh, I don't feel so great. And that's as much as the optimizing is like going through my head. For a rest day for you, could it just be a walk? Or are you generally gonna go to a yoga session or do something else too?
It depends on how sore I am. If I genuinely am like, all I can bear is a walk, it brings up the concept of did I do too much in my training? Probably. I don't want to work myself to not being able to move my body. So it really just depends. Like, I'm starting this new program. I definitely brought the intensity, and was my body fully trained for that intensity? No. And I know not because my soreness lasted longer than 72 hours, which is kind of the breaking point. If you're not recovered within 72 hours, you definitely did too much.
I just worry that people will get in their mind that they need to move on their rest day. And I worry what move is going to mean to somebody
Mm.
just hearing that word because in their head, it might make them fearful of a rest day, which is like not the argument here at all. Well, you want to optimize feeling good. And I just worry that someone who's scared of rest days could become more scared of rest days.
I am going to be really honest. I want everyone, if this is my ideal world and I get to choose what everybody does with their time, I want everybody to walk at least 8 to 10,000 steps a day. Probably not. I think 10 can be a little aggressive, but like at least like 7 to 8.
I think 75 is a good number.
That would be my ideal thought of like people thinking that they need to just couch rot and take Advil and ice their muscles because that's what they think a rest day looks like. I think that that's an inaccurate way to optimally recover. Now, if you're looking at that and you're thinking it's not about recovery and it's about something else and it's about feeling that feels good to you, that's great. But add a side of walking or some kind of movement because that's actually going to do more for you.
Moving away on that day that is going to feel good and help you recover. End of story.
Do you have any like a thought or a stream of consciousness that you would want to leave everybody on when it comes to movement, fitness, training, programs? Do you have just like one thing that you think is either just top of mind or something that you find to be really important and relevant?
I think that my overall goal is always feel good. And if that means I go a little bit harder here, I ease back a little bit here, I take a complete rest day where I don't do anything, or I do a rest day where I go to play pickleball and do a yoga class. It changes with where I'm at in my life and what's feeling good at that time. And I genuinely do not take it so seriously that I let it affect my schedule, that I let it add stress to my life. It changes with where I'm at. It's gonna ebb and flow with my motivation levels. I really really, I can't stress this enough. Don't let it take over my life in any way. It's just gonna meet me it's just gonna meet me where I'm at, and that's genuinely how I do fitness, and it's how I do nutrition. Sometimes I'm feeling a certain way, sometimes I'm feeling the complete opposite, and so I do the complete opposite, with all of it going back to the goal of feeling good. Physically, that means mentally, that means that I don't always do everything optimizing it or the most efficient, and it's okay. It's just genuinely what works for me. What about you?
This podcast is going to turn into my therapy session because one thing that obviously differs between you and I is I do try to be optimal, and I almost need it. Like I need that foundation because to me, optimal is objective. It's not emotional. It's not subjective. It's not built on my entire history with body image issues, food scarcity, or like fears, food being good or bad. It's not emotional. And when I know and understand things, I get to not be emotional and do things out of fear and out of anxiety or whatever deep rooted insecurity that I have that still lives within me because it's so subconscious sometimes that I have to bring it to my consciousness to fight against that thought or that feeling. So to me, like knowing and understanding what's optimal and how to integrate that into my routine has been very helpful in overriding that emotional response. I can learn a lot from Alex because that idea of perfection and doing things the most optimal way is something that can hurt me in a lot of ways, right? So I think that that's one great thing that I get to take from our friendship is that I have someone who's so anchored in reality and also a healthy lifestyle that you hate this.
No, no, I mean, thank you, but, sure, I think you are giving me way more credit than I deserve in that way, but I will say, I know you said optimal is objective, but optimal is not objective. Sure, in certain scenarios, like, for recovery and for how much protein and whatever, but, like, optimizing can be in so many other ways, though, too. Like, am I optimizing my mindset and my brain by doing these other things?
Well, so I'm just speaking to training, nutrition.
But I guess my
Mhm.
mind goes a different direction. It goes like, sure, I could optimize all these other things by doing X, Y, and Z and being so rigid with things. But in my mind, I'm not then optimizing like the way I feel inside my head.
You need something differently to feel good than I need to feel good. Like I love that objective reality in terms of like especially when it comes to like food and fitness because again it's something that's so deeply rooted and emotional to me sometimes that when I eat a cookie my brain says you ate 10
I get it. I
and
get it. Totally.
I need that objective reality. My mind will catastrophize very easily.
Knowledge is power. When you know that that one cookie is truly not 10 and that one cookie truly can't make you gain weight, when you know that, you have power over that cookie. You have power over your mind. And I get that. It actually, I mean, it makes so much sense. It's just about going about it so differently. That's it for today. Take what you need from the episode, leave the rest, and trust that you're doing better than you think. Thank you for being here. If you liked this episode, please rate and review. We'll talk to you soon. Until then, keep feeling good.